Okay. This is December 25, 1991. You don't have to look in the camera. And this is Grandma Ida Ishikawa, um, an oral biography. Uh, Grandma, what's the oldest of your ancestors that you know of? What occupation might they have had that you can recall?
One relative was studying to become an MD, but he got tuberculosis and passed away.
How far back was that?
I'm sorry, I don't know how far back, but it was.
How about
I have the picture, but it was quite a ways back.
your grandparents or great grandparents?
I know that my grandfather was a kendo instructor
What was his name?
under Matsudaira in Tokyo, and I heard that he was a famous kendo instructor.
Do you know his name? Or his last name?
My father never told me. I don't know if it was my.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure. He never told me his name. It must have been Aibara, I think. He never told me if it was my his mother's brother or his father's brother. All he told me was that he was a kendo instructor. That's all I know about him.
Okay. How about your parents?
My dad uh, was under Matsudaira. Then Matsudaira changed his name to Tokugawa, so he was a samurai. He was the youngest of his three brothers, and I believe he had a sister. Now, I have a picture of his older brother and his mother's picture.
When you say he was under somebody, who is that?
That was the ruler of Japan that ruled Japan for 200 years.
Oh,
Then he lost his power.
that's the.
The samurais, or Tokugawa, lost his power. I don't know exactly what year. Then this emperor, what's his?
Hirohito? Or is before Hirohito?
Before Hirohito. You see, the name might come to me, but
Well, it may come
he's
later.
the one that opened Japan to the outside world. Up to
To,
then, Tokugawa closed Japan for 200 years. I mean, Tokugawa's ancestors. Anyway, Japan was closed to the outside world except Portugal, and I'm not sure what other country. And when the Tokugawa lost his power, then the samurais had to either go to school, so to learn a way to earn their own living. And if they did not want to go to school, they had to take up a trade. My dad took up a trade. The first trade he took up was tailoring. Then he went to work for
what is your dad's name?
Rennosuke Aibara.
And what was he before he was a tailor?
He was a samurai.
Oh. But did you know him?
My dad?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, he raised me.
Okay. What year did he die, or how long ago?
I guess you have to ask Fumi. I don't remember.
How old were
what
you
year,
roughly?
But, he lived to be 80 years old, and if he was living now, he'd be 100 and something. Maybe Fumi knows how old he'd be.
So he was a tailor on Taravale Street in San Francisco?
No.
No?
That was in Japan. Then he went to work for this Lord Hotta, who was who started a shoe factory, as far as I know, and I think a glass factory, and I don't know what else. Uh, and he just hired samurais to work in his shoe factory, and he called this group Sakura Gumi. That means sakura is that flower, cherry blossom flower. And there's the brother of this Lord Hotta was one of the advisors to Meiji Emperor. Meiji Emperor is the one that opened Japan to the outside world.
Is he the one who opened it up to Commodore Perry?
Probably.
The 1860s or 50s?
Probably.
Uh-huh. And he's the
All
one
I know is that he opened Japan to the outside world. Meiji Emperor.
So what made your dad come to America?
I never asked him why, and all I know is he told me that he didn't expect to be here as long as he did. But I am happy that I did not have to go back to Japan with him. I'm very thankful that he stayed here, and I'm very thankful that I'm living here.
Tell us about your mom, your mother.
My mother was born in Tokyo.
And what was her name?
Haruko Sekine, I think was her last name. And she died when I was 3 years old. So I do not remember her at all. All I know is that she was a very sweet person.
Okay, and she must have come with your father?
Yes,
from Japan?
this was his second marriage. His first wife came to this country and bore a daughter that was 10 years older than me. But her mother was not well, so she and her daughter went back to Japan. Then she passed away there, and my sister was taken care of by my father's mother and probably the auntie, I'm not positive. But they would not let her come to this country because they said women that come to this country, to the U.S., all die early. So they would not let my father's first child come to this country. So she died in Japan.
Do you know what your mother died of?
I do not know what she died of.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
No.
No? Really? How about Grandpa's ancestors? Do you know anything about them?
Yes, I have a picture of his uncle. And his older brother, his nephew, his older brother's wife, and son, I believe it is. I have a picture of
And did Grandpa have brothers or sisters?
you mean my husband?
Uh-huh.
Yes. His father, he doesn't even know his own father. He lived with a relative. He was his mother had 2 acres. Now in Japan, sometimes they have a custom where the husband takes the wife's name when they get married. If the wife does not have any brothers, they have to have somebody carry their name on. So my husband's mother, from what I know, married 3 times. All the husbands passed away, so she was left by herself. And my husband was the oldest son, so he was to be the heir to the property. But during his time, farmers were not earning that much, and they were having a hard time making a living, I think. So my husband didn't want the property. Then he also had a brother, a younger brother by another father. Well, this brother did not want the property either. So the property was given to the youngest daughter. Uh, they have 2 acres, and after the Second World War, the it must have been MacArthur's idea to help the farmers so they could earn a better living. And so when my daughter Linda went to visit this home, she said, "Oh, they have a nice 2-story house, and they have lots of land. They're rich." Now what else?
Well, let's see. What? Let's see. Did my grandpa, come here on his own, or did his parents bring him here?
No, he came on his own. He was about 27, something like that when he came to this country.
And what were his reasons for coming?
He never told me, but I suppose he thought he could make more money here than in Japan.
Was it his plan to do that and then go back to Japan, or to live
Yes.
here forever?
Well, he was thinking even of going to South America, because when he came to this country, he could not become a citizen of this country, and he could not buy any land. So he was planning to go to Brazil, where the Japanese were allowed to buy land. His brother was here for a while, and he went back to Japan, married, and took his wife to Brazil. And bought property there and had his home, and he had a son and a daughter. The son speaks Japanese, English, Portuguese, Spanish, and Dutch. And he's still living now, and he's working as an interpreter. He came to live in the United States, and he went to San Jose State for about 4 years or 5 years, and he studied to become an electrical engineer. Then he went to Japan and stayed there for 2 years and worked for Toshiba. Then he went back to Brazil, and he hired 200 people, and he started his own company. But something happened to the company, so he had to give it up. And then he worked for General Electric. Now he is working as an interpreter.
What's his name?
Ren Ishikawa.
Okay, that's who we call Uncle Ren.
Yes, that's who we call Uncle Ren. And I believe his father looked up to the samurai groups. And I believe he took my father's name and named his son Ren, but my father's full name was Rennosuke. But to make it short, I have a feeling he must have named his son after my dad.
Now, does Grandpa Arthur Ishikawa have any living relatives still in Japan?
Yes, his sister, and the sister's sons and